Hi guys, good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Kat and this is Katadactyl. So today I am going to do my September wrap-up. I cannot believe that it is September. Well, it's October now. I actually read 9, or attempted to read 9 books in the month of September, and I did a very lovely buddy read, over 1 and 1.5 books. So yeah, let's go ahead and get right on into it. So I have my phone here and I'm just gonna go down and yeah, let's go ahead and start. So the first book that I finished was Regen by Patricia Park. So I was just feeling like something light and fluffy and like some escapism. And actually this book is following a Korean girl who is growing up in Queens, New York, and it's about finding her place and not letting people tell her what to do, and kind of traveling around from New York City to Korea and back again, and exploring the ways that families may appear one way and they act one way, but their intentions are another. I would say the first half of this book I was really interested by, and then something happened and I was like, shouldn't have done that. But I think that this is supposed to be a Jane Eyre retelling, which is obviously, you know, the title, and also it says it's a modern retelling of Jane Eyre. I think that that comparison damaged it a bit for me because as a novel, if I was judging it separately than Jane Eyre, it would be different, maybe rated higher. But as it stands, I give this like probably a solid 3. Perfect, like just a relax whatever book, but it's absolutely not going to stay in my mind, and nothing was really stand out about it in my personal opinion. Yeah, if you guys have read this, let me know what you thought. And yeah, I'd love to hear it. So the next one, which is Cajun Zeus, which I attempted to read with Novelly KJ, kind of went horribly. The reason I was so interested in it was because when I was doing my queer Japanese lit research, this one kept popping up as one of the only transgender or fluid gender representations in Japanese literature. So I mentioned that, and Novelly KJ was like, oh, I'd love to read that. And so then I told them, great! And then we kept pushing it off until September, and when we finally read it, it was like, womp womp. Like, I think that the author, hopefully, was trying to write about gender representation as best that they can, but it got a lot of things wrong. So, basically there are this section of society called the Rounds, and they are created as a gender fluid, transgender type of human, and it's not really, we didn't get far enough to really understand the minutiae of their category in society, but essentially they are shunned and ostracized. And when we first met one of the scientists who is around, the way in which the author wrote about the interaction and just the pronouns and the way that different characters spoke about that character was not conducive to either of us reading on. So I think that Japanese literature has a long way to go, and I thank Novelly KJ for attempting to read it with me. Yeah, so that one I don't recommend. It was a DNF at about 25-30%. So yeah. So then, because that buddy read went downhill, we decided to read Rust and Stardust together. And it follows the real life story of the girl, Sally Horner, who was abducted by a man and taken across the country, and is said to have inspired Nabokov's Lolita. So I'm not a fan of Lolita, but I am intrigued by kidnap escape novels. So I really was up for reading it, and I was like, yes, great, awesome. And then, because I'm a dill and I was really stressed about work, I binge read that entire book over one sitting at night. Like, I started it and I said to my husband, I'm like, I'll just start this book to relax. Like, I'll just get the first few pages in, I'll relax, and then like, I'll probably fall asleep. And he's like, okay. Because you know, like when you've been working and your mind is racing and you can't sleep, often I use books to like chill out, relax, and then I go to sleep. Okay, that was not the case. I wrote KJ and was like, I'm starting Rust and Stardust. And then the next morning I was like, lol, finished the entire book. So our conversations were retroactive on my part because I can't control myself, no self-control. So the book was written quite well and I wanted to see what happened. I deliberately didn't look up anything about Sally Horner's life because, like I said, it's a true accounting of her life, so I didn't want to ruin anything. And yeah, I just obviously couldn't put it down. I think I give it 3.5 stars to 4 stars overall. I couldn't put it down. It was exceedingly readable. I don't know how much will stay with me though. Like, I've already forgotten most of the characters' names other than the main character. So sorry KJ for just absolutely blitzing through that book. But yeah, so KJ is a great reading buddy. If you'd like to read with them, then I will leave their links down below because they also have a booktube channel. So yeah. Alright, so let's move on. Okay, so I forgot to mention that Rust and Stardust was actually from NetGalley, so thank you so much NetGalley. Another one that they approved for me to read was Sirens Lore by Frost K. Now listen, all I read was Siren and I was like, yes. So in this one we're following Regen, who is a guy who's pretty unlucky. So he was captured off the coast of his country and taken aboard a ship to be sold to another country for illegal means. When their ship is overtaken by a pirate ship, and the captain of the pirate ship is Lilja, Lilja, and she just so happens to be a siren, is the TLDR of that. And I was like, oh my god, yes. So I didn't realize that this was actually a 0.5 novel. It is, yeah, it is 2.5 in the Aermian Feuds series. So I read it without knowing that and without knowing like the story. And actually, truth be told, it held up really well as like a standalone novelette by itself. I'd say novelette because it's short. It's about 180 pages, so I guess it's a book slash novelette, 0.5 novel, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it worked really well as a standalone, so if that's something that you're interested in, then I would say check it out. The Aermian Feuds series is one now that I'm interested in because I read that book. So the novel doesn't really get so much into the back history of the world or anything like that, and I think that's largely due to the fact that this is a 0.5, so the main series is carrying the heavy plot and the heavy world building. But in this 0.5 novel, it had really great pirates, sirens, mythical lore, high seas shenanigans, and a lot of fisticuffs. So like, it was so nice to read. So yeah, I will leave the links down below. Yeah, go see about it if that sounds to your liking. So the next one I read was Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. Now, she is the one who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, obviously. I had heard such hype about this book for so long. There's a few creators that I watch, especially that I really, really love. And for this one, one is Lavender. I just love her to pieces. Her aesthetic is like perfect. But she mentioned Big Magic, and a lot of creatives have actually mentioned Big Magic, and that's why I've kind of held off reading it, because I've heard so many good things about it. And I don't know why, but I read the book and I was expecting it to like blow my mind on so many levels and me to just be like, how have I never read this book before? Like, how was I living my life until this moment? That did not happen, and I think a lot of it is because Gilbert is writing about the creative process, specifically how we view ourselves in the creative process. So it isn't necessarily like tips to be more creative or like tips to like help your writing or like tips to blah blah blah. It's more like how to be open to being creative and how to nurture your creative child and your psyche, like your actual mind. Like, so a lot of the things she brought up were really interesting and like great food for thought, but not based in science. It's all based on her experiences, which is completely fine, but it was more of like a journal and like a friend who is a successful writer and a creative person talking to you about how they live their life and what they think about things. Some things I was like, oh, I do not believe that. And then some things I was like, oh, that's a good way of looking at it. So a lot of it was throw out what I don't agree with, take in what I like am open to receiving kind of thing. Which was a different experience, like I said, than I was expecting. I was expecting to be like, wow, this has like 1,000 tips for how to be like the best writer ever. Yeah, so I feel like the way in which people have talked about that book led me to believe something else. But the book, for creative people, I would give it probably 4 stars. So if someone is struggling to be open to their creative impulses or struggling to work themselves up and be like, no, you should do it and have confidence in themselves, then I would go ahead and read this book, or alternatively, check out Lavender. I don't know Lavender, I just admire her work from afar, and I think that her whole channel is just beauty personified. So I will leave links to her channel down below. Yeah, so, okay, that's enough hero worship from me. So, next up is a book that I'm gonna say is a problematic fave, a new problematic fave. So I'm talking about The Wicker King by Ancrum. As a lover of darker books, I really liked this book. So I know that this is problematic for a lot of people, and I don't recommend it for any young adults or children. I think that this is an adult novel, no matter what the categorization is, but I really did like it. So let me know your thoughts down below. Please be kind. We all have different reading tastes, but I am intrigued to know what you guys thought of it, if you've read it. If anyone has also liked it, please let me know down below. A lot of the reviews I've seen have been in the negative. So if anyone out there also liked it, then please do let me know, and I look forward to hearing from you. Because The Wicker King was so dark, I ended up reading 2 books after that, which are like my favorite genre to like ever read when I'm feeling a slump coming on. Of course, it is a gay shifter romance. So I, a while ago, got approved for a book called The Wolf at Bay by Charlie Adhara, which is gay werewolf shifter. And the thing is, I'm a dill and I didn't download it, so then when it was approaching publication, they took back the offer and I couldn't get it out of my mind. So I ended up buying them anyway. So the first one is The Wolf at the Door, and the second one is The Wolf at Bay by Charlie Adhara. And we follow an FBI agent named Cooper and a werewolf shifter investigator named Park. And there have been some killings going on, and they're trying to figure out who the serial killer is, and their relationship just develops more, and it's really sweet, and they're so awkward and the dialogue is so good, like the tension. I think Charlie Adhara did a great job of building up like that awkward tension when you're first getting to know someone, especially like one of them is human and one of them is a shifter, and they're like, okay, this is like awkward, like how do we figure this out? And not to mention they're like, you know, police investigators or FBI division investigators, so yeah, life is on the line and the stakes are higher and there's the adrenaline, and also they're just awkward at all times. So I really liked it, and when I realized that The Wolf at Bay was the second one, I was like, okay, well I gotta read the first one first. So then I bought the first one, read it, and then I said to my husband, I was like, oh no, like if I should start this tonight because I might just binge it. And that's what I did. I read from about 10 at night till 4 in the morning, and I read both books. So the next book, the third, comes out next year, so my life is over. Yeah, but I really do recommend them. If you like gay shifter stuff, then yeah, check it out. And I would say thank you to NetGalley because they let me know about it, but unfortunately, I did not read it through them. I bought it myself, so yes. So the last book that I read in September was The Outsider by Albert Camus, and this deals with a man named Mersault, who doesn't kind of process emotions the same way other people do. He kind of just goes through the motions. Actually, after reading this, I think that he's a sociopath. Like, not an evil one at all, just like he doesn't feel emotions kind of empathy for others. He doesn't really understand or process that. So for instance, his mother dies and he doesn't show the appropriate amount of emotions. And then when a murder occurs and he's on trial for it, people use his lack of emotions against him. And this was really interesting to read as of late because there's been a bunch of stuff about sociopaths online. And I just found it really fascinating to read. It's also really little. I don't know, it was one of those books I always wanted to read and I just decided to do it, and also I needed to read it so I can return it to my husband's school's library. So yeah, I'm glad I read it, but didn't blow me away, wasn't neutral. I'm neutral about it. So that finishes up my September wrap-up. I hope that you are having an absolutely lovely day. I'm sorry this video is hella long. I'm probably gonna have to take out my entire Wicker King dialogue and make that a separate review video, just because that part alone was probably, I don't even know how long. But thank you for watching, and I hope that you are having a lovely day. I appreciate you for sticking around, and yeah, we're gonna go out and do some errands now, and then I'm gonna go do some freelance work at the local Star of Bucks. So yeah, I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will chat to you guys later. If you like this, then give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, that would be amazing, and I will chat to you later. Toodles! Bye!